It was a chilly Thursday evening in October 2014. The small town of Crescent Ridge, Missouri, was settling in for the night. The air was quiet, the leaves rustled in the wind, and at 8:47 p.m., someone knocked on the front door of the Harper residence. No one expected that knock would unleash a nightmare still unsolved to this day. 29-year-old Elena Harper, a nurse at Ridgefield General, had just finished a double shift. Her husband Mark had dinner waiting, their twin girls asleep upstairs. Life was normal, until that knock. According to Mark's 911 call, he opened the door, and no one was there.
Yeah, hi, someone knocked. I opened it, but there's no one. I thought maybe a package or a prank, but something's off.
Mark stepped outside, looked around. Nothing. The porch light flickered, then steadied. But, within the next hour, Elena Harper vanished. No signs of forced entry, no screams, no struggle. The last footage of her alive is captured on their Ring doorbell camera at 9:12 p.m. She walks out onto the porch, barefoot. She whispers something, unintelligible, and disappears into the night.
We reviewed the footage at least 50 times. You can see, she mouths something before walking off. We enhanced the audio just to be sure. It sounds like she says, "He's here."
Authorities launched a full-scale search. Dogs picked up her scent leading down Route 5 and then, just nothing. It just stopped, almost like she vanished into thin air.
I heard a sound like, metal dragging across pavement. Then silence. I looked out, didn't see anything. I just had this feeling, something was terribly wrong.
2 days later, her phone was found 6 miles away in an irrigation ditch. The screen was shattered, but the camera was still recording. The last video saved showed trees, a dark sky, and a faint sound in the background. A knock. 3 soft knocks.
We've ruled out the husband. No suspects, no ransom. It's like she walked into nothing, or followed someone into it.
Then came the letter. 10 days after her disappearance, a handwritten envelope arrived at the Harper home. No return address, postmarked from Reno, Nevada. Inside, only 5 words. She came to me willingly. The handwriting didn't match Elena's, but DNA on the envelope, partial match. Familial, not Elena's, but someone related to her.
It's chilling. This wasn't random. This was personal. The message is a claim, and maybe a confession.
The case caught national attention. Online sleuths, dissected the doorbell footage frame by frame. One user claimed they saw a shadow move in the background, and another, a reflection in the window, but neither was confirmed. 9 years later, no body, no suspects, just a woman who walked out her door and never came back. Her daughters are now teenagers. Mark never remarried. The doorbell footage was never released publicly. But every year, on October 16th, someone knocks on the Harper's door. 3 soft knocks, and well, no one ever there.
Last year I called again, same time, same knock. We set up surveillance, nothing. No one approached the house, but the knock was clearly heard.
A knock at the door, a whisper in the dark, and a nightmare with no ending. Is Elena Harper still alive? Did she run? Was she taken? And who knew her well enough to get her to walk away from everything? This is Vanished Whispers, True Crime, and this was a knock at the door. Then a nightmare began. A-1.9s. The investigation turned to the neighbors. At 8:50 p.m., Mrs. Lillian Brooks, who lived across the street, told police, "I saw a figure standing by the Harper's mailbox, tall, wearing a hood. I thought it was Mark, but the way he moved, it wasn't right." Another neighbor, Tom Reyes, reported hearing a woman's voice whispering, "Don't answer," just before the knock. Police transcripts confirm both statements were taken within an hour of Elena's disappearance. Gap-1.9s, Detective Monroe. "Mark, did you recognize the voice on the porch?" Mark Harper. "No, it wasn't Elena, it was distorted, almost mechanical." Investigator Lewis. "We found partial prints on the doorframe, not a match in any database. The transcripts reveal confusion, fear, and a growing sense that something unnatural was at play." Gap-1.9s. Days later, a neighbor's security camera captured a shadowy figure circling the Harper home at 3:17 a.m. The footage, enhanced by police, shows the figure pausing at the door, then vanishing mid-step. Forensics found a single black feather on the porch. DNA analysis inconclusive. the evidence only deepened the mystery. Voiceover, Gap-1.9s. On the 1-year anniversary, Mark received a voicemail from Elena's phone. The message, 3 knocks, a gasp, and a voice, Elena's, whispering, "I'm not alone." The phone was still in police evidence. No calls had been made from it. The case files were reopened, but no new leads emerged. Voiceover, Gap-1.9s. The Harper case remains unsolved. Every October the knocks return. The evidence, witness statements, transcripts, and chilling footage offers no answers. Was Elena taken by someone she knew, or did something darker come knocking that night? The nightmare continues and the truth remains just out of reach. Voiceover. But just when it seemed every angle had been explored, a new witness stepped forward. In a recently uncovered statement, Mrs. Lowell, an elderly neighbor who'd long kept to herself, revealed a detail that no one had mentioned before. She recalled seeing a second figure in Elena's driveway that night. Not the stranger at the door, but someone standing beneath the old sycamore tree, partially hidden by shadows. According to Mrs. Lowell, this person lingered for nearly 20 minutes, watching the house in silence before vanishing as the police arrived. What's more, she swore the figure looked familiar, moving with a limp, just like Elena's estranged brother Mark, who hadn't been seen in the neighborhood for years. Was it really him, or just a trick of the night? This revelation cast new suspicion, hinting at tangled relationships and secrets buried deeper than anyone guessed. Suddenly, the mystery wasn't just about a stranger at the door, but about the people closest to Elena and what they might be hiding. Voiceover. But the investigation took another turn when a newly released police transcript surfaced, one that revealed glaring inconsistencies in key testimonies. In the recording, Detective Harris questions Elena's close friend Rachel about the events of that night. At first, Rachel insists she hadn't spoken to Elena after 8:00 p.m. But moments later, confronted with phone records, she admits to a late-night call, one she claims was just to check in. Then the transcript reveals another twist. Rachel's account of what Elena was wearing doesn't match the doorbell footage. She describes a blue sweater, but the video clearly shows Elena in a red jacket. When pressed, Rachel grows flustered, changing her story yet again. The inconsistencies don't end there. Rachel mentions hearing 2 distinct voices on the 911 call, a detail not released to the public. How did she know? Was it a lucky guess or something more? The transcript closes with Detective Harris's quiet note. Rachel's timeline and details require further scrutiny, possible withholding of information. With every new revelation, suspicion shifts. Is Rachel simply confused, or is she hiding something that could unravel the case? The mystery deepens, and trust in those closest to Elena begins to erode. Voiceover. Just when it seemed the investigation had hit another dead end, a new piece of evidence surfaced, one that would send chills through the entire community. 2 weeks after the transcript leak, a volunteer search party combing the dense woods behind Elena's neighborhood stumbled upon something half-buried beneath a tangle of roots, a delicate silver bracelet engraved with Elena's initials. The bracelet was caked with mud, but a closer look revealed something even more disturbing. Tucked inside the clasp was a tiny slip of paper, folded tightly. Written in shaky handwriting were just 4 words. "You're looking too late." Investigators raced to analyze the bracelet and the note. Forensic teams confirmed the handwriting wasn't Elena's. The message raised haunting questions. Who placed it there and when? Was Elena still alive when the bracelet was hidden? Or was this the work of someone taunting the searchers, playing a cruel game with those desperate for answers? As news of the discovery spread, fear and unease gripped the town. The personal nature of the bracelet, and the chilling message, shifted the investigation's focus yet again. Was this a clue left by the person responsible for Elena's disappearance, or a desperate attempt from Elena herself to communicate from captivity? The stakes were suddenly higher. The search for Elena was no longer just about finding her, it was now a race against time, with the unsettling possibility that someone was watching every move, always one step ahead. Voiceover. As the investigation spiraled in new directions, the emotional toll on those closest to Elena became impossible to ignore. Her mother, Maria, barely slept, haunted by memories of Elena's laughter echoing through the empty house. Each new clue, each rumor, sent her hopes soaring, only to come crashing down with the next wave of uncertainty. She clung to Elena's favorite scarf, searching for comfort in its faded scent. Elena's best friend, Jamie, found herself retracing every conversation, every moment they'd shared, tormented by questions of what she might have missed. Guilt gnawed at her. Should she have answered that late-night text? Should she have noticed the fear in Elena's eyes that last afternoon? Jamie scrolled endlessly through Elena's social media, desperate for signs she'd overlooked. Detective Harris, worn thin by sleepless nights and mounting pressure, faced his own demons. The case had become personal. He saw his own daughter's face in every missing poster. Each dead end felt like a personal failure, and the cryptic message on the bracelet only deepened his resolve. But beneath his determination lurked a growing fear. What if they were indeed too late? As the days dragged on, the lines between hope and despair blurred. Relationships strained under the weight of suspicion and fear. The community, once tight-knit, now eyed each other with uncertainty. In the shadow of Elena's disappearance, everyone was changed, bound together by loss, suspicion, and the desperate hope that the next clue would bring her home. The search for Elena was no longer just about finding answers. It had become a test of the human spirit, a struggle to hold on to faith and to each other in the face of unimaginable darkness. Voiceover. Just as the community began to settle into uneasy acceptance, a shocking revelation shattered the fragile calm. Late one evening, police released new surveillance footage, this time from a traffic camera 2 blocks from Elena's house, recorded on the night she vanished. The grainy video showed a familiar figure, Jamie, Elena's best friend, walking briskly away from the neighborhood at an hour she had previously denied being outside. Detective Harris, reviewing the footage, felt his heart sink. Jamie had always been at the center of the search, her grief raw and convincing. But now, questions swirled. Why had she lied about her whereabouts? What was she hiding? As investigators dug deeper, inconsistencies in Jamie's statements emerged. Text message logs revealed a heated argument between her and Elena just hours before the disappearance, something Jamie had never mentioned. And then, forensic analysis found faint traces of Elena's perfume on the passenger seat of Jamie's car, contradicting Jamie's earlier claims that Elena had never been inside. The revelation sent shockwaves through the community. Friends and neighbors who had rallied around Jamie now whispered behind closed doors. Maria, devastated, refused to believe her daughter's closest friend could be involved. Detective Harris faced mounting pressure to treat Jamie as a suspect, even as his instincts warred with the evidence. The case, once seemingly straightforward, was now upended. Was Jamie hiding a terrible secret, or was she being framed? As suspicion turned inward, the investigation veered in a new and unsettling direction, reminding everyone that in the search for truth, no one could be above suspicion. Voiceover. After months of heartache, suspicion, and restless nights, the investigation reached its breaking point. Detective Harris, haunted by doubts and desperate for answers, called a final meeting with the team. They pored over every clue: doorbell footage, transcripts, the mysterious letter from Reno, and Jamie's conflicting statements. Then, a breakthrough. A forensic analyst discovered a hidden data file on Elena's missing phone, recently recovered from a pawn shop miles away. The file, an encrypted voice memo, was painstakingly restored. As the team listened, Elena's trembling voice filled the room. She spoke of mounting fear. A stranger had been following her, leaving cryptic notes and watching from the woods. She confessed that she'd confided only in Jamie, who tried to protect her the night she disappeared. Elena's last words were a plea for help and a promise to return home. But the final piece came from the bracelet found in the woods. DNA analysis matched a drifter arrested in Reno, confirming that Elena had been abducted by a stranger, just as Jamie insisted. The truth exonerated Jamie, whose lies were born from fear and a desperate attempt to shield her friend from a stalker she couldn't identify. The news swept through the community, bringing tears and relief in equal measure. Jamie, once an outcast, was welcomed back with open arms. Maria, clutching her daughter's recovered bracelet, finally found closure. Detective Harris, weary but at peace, watched as Elena's story became a testament to resilience, friendship, and the power of never giving up hope. The nightmare was over, and for the first time in a year, the quiet knock at the door meant only the promise of tomorrow. Voiceover. Just as the community began to heal, a surprising discovery reignited the case. While cleaning out Elena's childhood bedroom, Maria stumbled upon a dusty, leather-bound journal wedged behind a loose floorboard. Its pages, filled with Elena's neat handwriting, revealed months of hidden anxiety and cryptic references to a watcher. The journal chronicled strange phone calls, shadowy figures outside her window, and a growing sense of dread that began long before the night she vanished. But one entry stood out, a detailed sketch of a distinctive tattoo, a serpent entwined around a rose, accompanied by a chilling note. If anything happens to me, look for the serpent. Detective Harris, poring over the journal, felt a fresh surge of determination. The tattoo matched an unsolved case file from a neighboring town, one involving a transient worker with a violent past. Meanwhile, Jamie, still grappling with guilt and relief, was approached by an unexpected visitor, Elena's estranged father, who had been absent for years. He confessed he'd received a mysterious letter weeks before Elena's disappearance, warning him to stay away or risk her safety. This revelation cast a new shadow over the investigation and raised questions about old family secrets, debts, and enemies. As the team chased down new leads and suspects, the stakes soared. Maria's fear returned, Jamie's loyalty was tested once again, and Detective Harris realized that the web of lies and danger stretched further than anyone had imagined. The truth, it seemed, was still lurking in the shadows, waiting for the right moment to strike. The nightmare might not be over after all. Voiceover. As dawn broke over the quiet town, the truth finally emerged. Elena's disappearance, once shrouded in fear and uncertainty, was now illuminated by the courage of those who refused to give up. Mark Harper and Karen Doyle stood together, their voices trembling as they recounted the final moments, how a single clue, overlooked for years, led Detective Monroe and Investigator Lewis to the hidden journal. The pages revealed Elena's struggle, her hope, and her final message: never stop searching for the light. The community gathered, tears streaming down faces, as the truth brought both sorrow and peace. The nightmare had ended, but the bonds forged in darkness would last forever. The case was closed, but Elena's memory would live on, a beacon for all who seek justice and hope.